All right, I think we're good to go, ladies and gentlemen. It is Wednesday night, time for another edition of RSN Trackside, powered by Bob Johnson Auto Group, right here on Rock Sports Network, Western New York's home for motorsports. Marty Zacala with you, live inside the Slide Job Studios. Kelvin LaPierre stuck at work tonight, but I hear he's got a very great concert. I believe I looked at the Warner Theater schedule, and I believe it's Marcus King, who did the former NASCAR and NBC theme song, The Well. I believe he is at Warner Theater tonight, and if not, it's just the later on this week. But I hear it's a pretty good one, that's for sure. But regardless of that, so much to talk about. This weekend at Watkins Glen was fantastic. I wish that it was in August next season, but hey, I wish it was in September next season. Let me reverse that. I was losing my train of thought there for a moment, but I mean, just fantastic finishes. Yes, it took a couple overtime attempts or so to get to where we needed to be, but in the end, it was phenomenal, that's for sure. So we'll get into it. RSN Trackside is powered by Bob Johnson Auto Group. They carry 20 different auto manufacturers, ranging from Chevy to Ford to Toyota, and many more in 26 locations throughout the state. Choose from thousands of vehicles in stock and check them out online at bobjohnsonautogroup.com to find a location near you. Well, let's get right into it. I don't think it's going to be a full hour show like normal with Kelvin not being here, but we do have a lot to talk about. Cup Series race we'll begin with at Watkins Glen International. Chris Buescher taking the checkered flag for that first win of the season. Buescher's been so close so many times to winning this season. First place you go look at it, I believe it was Kansas you look at first off, where he was 1/1000th of a second shy from beating Kyle Larson in the closest finish in NASCAR Cup Series history since the advent of electronic timing and scoring. Then you go to Darlington, leading that race. Tyler Reddick inadvertently, as a lap car, gets into Buescher, puts him in the wall, ends his chances of a win. And Buescher said those clear words: "We're fighting for that sticker on that race car. You're not." And guess what? Fast forward to Sunday, Buescher takes the checkered flag. He got that sticker and posted it on X to show off. Said, "Finally got that sticker." Unfortunately, won't move him on into the round of 12 since Buescher is not playoff eligible. I think all the fans of the number 17 team wish that he was playoff eligible. Unfortunately, that will not be the case. Pretty cool as well that it's his first ever road course win. Career win number 6 in the Cup Series for Chris Buescher. He's shown strength in the past few years. Like you look at Sonoma, for example. He's put together some pretty good finishes in the RFK ride. And some other pretty cool things as well. Want to give a shout out as well to one of my other friends in NASCAR, actually a Brockport alum, Elijah Burke, who does social media on that team. Got a win at his home track. Posted all over social media. That was pretty cool to see as well. I didn't realize it that closely until I saw it on Instagram that hey, he works at RFK. Normally does Buescher's Twitter as well, and got the win at home. So that's pretty cool. But that wasn't easy. Why? Because he had to beat off probably the best road course racer right now, without question, Shane Van Gisbergen. And we all know that he's got that ride in place for next season, full time of the 88. This time in the Colleague Racing number 16. You got to feel bad if you're a notorious SVG fan, because Shane came so close to career win number 2. Again, in his first attempt at Watkins Glen International in New York, which would have been pretty cool to see. But pretty much simple. Like it looked like he was going to win that race, and then he hit the curb in the bus stop. When I was watching that live, I'm thinking, "Oh my goodness, Buescher went in way too deep and sent it on it like he did a bump and run." Nope, it wasn't just that. Nope, Buescher had an opportunity when SVG made that mistake. Had to go for it. As Wayne Gretzky and Michael Scott once said, "You miss 100% of the shots you don't take." So, but Watkins Glen is kind of a track I expected SVG to run pretty well at, because there's a lot of 90-degree corners, like the 90 in turn number 1. Then, of course, the final 2 corners, turn 6 and 7, turn 10 and 11 if you include the boot, which are also 90-degree shaped corners. I thought this was going to be a race where SVG would probably finish inside the top 5, which is what happened. He finished runner-up. He was mad at himself, but he did have he was in a good mood, though, after the race. And I like that. I mean, at this point, if you're SVG, you're going for wins and good finishes at the same time. Obviously, if this were full-time SVG, if he's fighting for a spot in the round of 12, likely, because he would likely have a road course win by now if he was full-time. But if he were racing on, trying to make his way to the round of 12, we would probably see a completely different side of Shane Van Gisbergen. Maybe V8 Supercar side, Shane Van Gisbergen, possibly back in Australia. So who knows? But in the end, Buescher beats SVG. Let's look at the playoff standings because there was a huge shakeup after 2 races of the round of 16. Only one driver is set free for the round of 12, and that's Joey Logano. He has nothing to worry about. Here's what the other drivers have to worry about. Christopher Bell is the best driver on points right now, 46 above the cut line. Austin Cindric third, up 43. Alex Bowman up in fourth, up 41. Daniel Suarez fifth, up 36. Tyler Reddick is sixth, up 30. He as well as Chase Elliott. Ryan Blaney eighth, up 29. Kyle Larson ninth, up 26. William Byron 10th, up 25. This is the danger zone. This is what's going to be crazy going into the round of 12 at Bristol, or if we see one of those drivers at least 20 points up, have an accident early on, oh boy, it could get interesting. Chase Briscoe, Ty Gibbs, each tied for 11th. They are 6 points above the cut line. First driver out now, Denny Hamlin. We'll get to Dennis in just a moment. He's 6 points below the cut. Brad Keselowski, 14th, 12 below. Martin Truex Jr., 15th, 14 below. Harrison Burton rounds out the playoff grid, 20 points below the cut line. So Hamlin is now out. Chase Briscoe back in. He was actually the highest finishing playoff driver inside the top 10 at the end. I believe it was a 6th place finish for Chase Briscoe. So a phenomenal effort, a much needed effort for the driver of the number 14. Going into Watkins Glen, he was 21 points below because we saw a lot of drivers have mess ups from lap 1 in the bus stop in the outer loop to the first overtime session, whichever one it was. We had playoff drivers having bad days all around. Chase Briscoe took advantage of it big time. 43 points he earned. Third in stage 1, so stayed out. Definitely have to stay out in that case. 7th in stage 2, so he picked up some bonus points from taking the green-white checkered flag inside the top 10. So Briscoe really needed those days. So that way, going into Bristol, all he just needs, in my opinion, is a great finish, probably top 5, if not top 10, and he will be in the round of 12 out of nowhere. This guy had to win Darlington, or else he was out of the playoffs. And guess what? He did just that the final race of the regular season. Now we could be talking about him in the round of 12, which would be pretty cool to see at least. So I think I'm having some technical difficulties here. Not too sure. Nope, I think I'm good. Okay. Down from when I was. Austin Cindric, back-to-back top 10s. Also looking really good in these playoffs. At the moment, looking at the grid after Watkins Glen, he is currently 7th in points, and he is up 27. So pretty much just needs to not wreck, and he's in the next round. So, and Cindric has had an up and down season, that's for sure. Obviously, Worldwide Technology locked him into the playoffs, which was phenomenal to see out of the number 2 team. But now he's got a chance to put all 3 Penske cars in the round of 12, something that we didn't think was going to be possible. I think the last time that happened was probably when Keselowski was in the 2 car in 2021. I can't remember off the top of my head, but that'd be so cool to see Cindric in the round of 12 in that next round where we have a road course as well. And so that could be a good opportunity for him to maybe even make the semifinals. Could be that huge underdog to make it into the next round. So we'll just have to see what goes down there. Ryan Blaney, one of the drivers that had horrible days, showed us nothing. Wrecked in the outer loop. Guess that's all we can say about that. So after that race, that puts Blaney 8th. Luckily, he had some playoff points from he had 40 playoff points, I believe it was. Nope, check that, 19. I was looking at Larson, 19 playoff points is how he started. Right now he's 29 up on the cut line, and Bristol, I believe, is a track that he should be good at, and I know Blaney has performed pretty well at that track in the past. I know the first year he was in the number 12. He was leading a bunch of the race at Bristol before he was taken out while leading. Not, though, in the top 12 of average finishes since February 2021. So that's a little something you want to keep your eye out for. His average finish at Bristol in the last 4 races is 18th. Only one top 5. So that's something you may want to keep your eye on going into Bristol this weekend. So, but it was very controversial. He wanted his car towed to the pits to try and maybe fix some toe links, get the tires changed on that number 12 Ford Mustang. But instead, he was towed to the garage. NASCAR towed him to the garage. Blaney was not happy. I don't know how NASCAR rules this situation, if it's based on how many tires are flat or if the steering is broken. Give these guys a chance to change some stuff up. I think that's why Blaney is frustrated, didn't have any chance to change something. And so I completely understand it there. Maybe the NASCAR rulebook may have an adjustment this week on how you get towed or who tows you or for a reason why you are towed. Something like that. Make it more specific so drivers can be aware what is going on, what you're being towed back to the pits for, what you can be towed to the pits for, and what you can be towed to the garage for to end your day, possibly. So, tough break for Ryan Blaney. Wish we could have seen a lot more. He pretty much has his one mulligan. But the guy I think everyone's talking about below that cut line, Denny Hamlin, who I don't think has ever been in a situation like this before, going into a round of 16 cut race. 6 points below on Ty Gibbs and Chase Briscoe for the final spots in. And he did not have a good day one bit at Watkins Glen. Yes, he finished in 2030. Yes, he was second in stage 2. But, oh my goodness, he was horrible in that race. Involved in a lap 1 accident, and then I believe he was involved in one of the wrecks in the final laps of stage 3. So it was just not a good day. I still have some confidence, though, in Denny, because we know he's pretty good at Bristol. He's got 2 wins in the last 4 races there for an average finish of 5th. 2 top 5s in those 4 races. Has led 370 laps, and obviously he picked up the win back in the spring. So that's something I don't know if I would be too concerned about right now if I'm Denny, but because this is a playoff race, especially a cutoff race at Bristol, I'd be a little bit nervous on this situation if I were Denny Hamlin. If I were Chris Gabehart, I'd be nervous completely. If I'm Denny Hamlin, it's Denny Hamlin. He's got all the confidence in himself where he can make the round of 12 and regain his 15 playoff points that he has from this season so far. So we'll have to see how things go with that. My thoughts on the Cup race being a playoff race, amazing. Like I said at the top of the show, I wish that this were a race in September next season, but hey, August is this normal home. Completely understand that. Totally respect that 100%. It was still a sellout crowd once again for I can't remember how many consecutive years. I think this is like 8 or 9. And so it's just been so successful. I thought Don Furlew had a great first NASCAR race as president of Watkins Glen International. And so that turned out pretty well. Don Burlew, excuse me, not Furlew. Michael Printup obviously set the bar when it came to Watkins Glen, but Don Burlew had a great first race as Watkins Glen president. And I cannot wait to see how this race turns out next season. The Goodyear tire as well, new tire. Nathan Sullivan, who was on the show last week, he and I were talking about it, and said expect a 3-second fall off in lap time. It turned out great once we saw the tire develop throughout Stage 3. Obviously, Daniel Suarez spun to end Stage 2, which put his pretty much teammates Ross Chastain and Shane Van Gisbergen in a hole where they took the stage points, stayed out going on into Stage 3. Chris Buescher had fresher tires, took the lead. So that meant that the one in the 9 and the one in the 16 pitted first, and that kind of helped as well when it came to the undercut. Kind of worked to their advantage, but then obviously in the end we know the mistake SVG made led to Buescher taking the win. So That's how that went down. Let's bring up the results from the Cup Series race. Chris Buescher, the winner. Shane Van Gisbergen second. Carson Hocevar third. Ross Chastain fourth. He led 51 of the race's 92 laps. Zane Smith fifth. Chase Briscoe sixth. Michael McDowell seventh. Corey LaJoie in eighth. How about that? All three Spire cars finish in the top 10. I believe that's the first time that's ever happened for that Spire team. Well deserved. They are probably the most improved team in NASCAR this season without question. Ryan Preece ninth, Austin Cindric rounds out the top 10. That is a top 10 that looks like a top 10 on a super speedway. I mean, that is a really cool top 10 to say the least. Some guys that are not normally in the top 5 or the top 10 finishing up there, like your Carson Hocevars, your Zane Smiths, your Chase Briscoes, your Michael McDowell's, Corey LaJoie's. Should I go on? Yeah, I won't go on from there, but that's a pretty cool top 10 to say the least. Truex won Stage 1, Chastain Stage 2. Average speed 85 miles an hour with a 1 second margin of victory. Race lasted 2 hours, 38 minutes, 41 seconds. The average of race time normally is 2 hours and 9 minutes, so a little bit over. 7 cautions for 21 laps and 11 lead changes amongst 9 different drivers. Other racing that happened, the NASCAR Xfinity Series at Watkins Glen. This was pretty cool as well. First time winner in their Cup debut. Connor Zilisch took the world by storm. First driver to win their Xfinity Series debut since Ty Gibbs did it at the Daytona Road Course. Zilisch led 45 of the races, 90 laps to get it done. Won Stage 1, was third in Stage 2. Made a great pass in the final, held off the field like Allmendinger, Shane Van Gisbergen, Sheldon Creed to get it done. Just terrific. Race ended under caution because that big wreck that happened in the end. That involved a couple of notable drivers. Riley Herbst, I believe, one of them involved. Huge wreck on the back straight, to say the least. So, but Connor Zilisch is going to be a star, that's for sure. If I were to guess, next year would probably be a full-time year in the Truck Series. I don't know if I were to get him. Oh, wait. Never mind. Dumb thing I just said, because Connor Zilisch is already set for Junior Motorsports. Let's see here. Going down further, it's a developmental deal with Trackhouse Racing. In 2025, his program consists of races in Xfinity Series and trucks. It will be full-time for Zilisch next season in the Xfinity Series. So I apologize about that. I almost left that out of my brain. So it's crazy to think this, too. I saw this stat. Connor Zilisch was born 43 days after Cars 1 came out. Cars 1 came out in June of 2006. Zilisch was born on July 22nd, 2006. Yeah, I feel pretty old now for being 26. So, but anyway, that's pretty much it for this Watkins Glen recap of the weekend. Let's step aside, take our first break of the night. When we come back, good, bad, ugly, power rankings. Had a couple of NASCAR stories come out throughout the week. We'll talk about them in just a bit. Stay with us. RSN Trackside's around the corner.
The drive, dedication, the courage it takes to go from contender to champion. This is driven Bob Johnson from the very start. It's how we build our team. It's how we win our customers. Bob Johnson welcomes every challenge to enter the winner's circle.
Bob Johnson's got your ride. Bob Johnson.
If you're living with pain or recovering from surgery and don't know where to start, Lattimore Physical Therapy can help. The Lattimore Promise includes an individual diagnosis with a highly trained licensed physical therapist on your first visit, a personalized treatment plan, communication with your doctor, and a continued personal care plan. You're never more than minutes away from pain relief. Visit LattimorePT.com.
Lattimore Physical Therapy.
We start with fresh, never frozen ground beef, follow it with our homemade meat hot sauce, and finish it with your choice of toppings, always made to order. Our world's greatest cheeseburgers will make you say,
Gimme, feel great.
Super Dirt Week, racing's biggest party, is all new this year. It's racing, music, camping, and a huge Saturday night finale. See your dirt car racing heroes battle wheel to wheel all week for a chance at glory. Get your tickets at superdirtweek.com or call 844-DIRT-TICKS. The 52nd running of Super Dirt Week, October 7th through the 12th. Be there.
Hi, my name is Henry, and I want to welcome you to Batavia Downs Gaming. We want you to love it, not just like it here. We went to our customers and asked them what we can do better. You said you wanted a hotel, so we built one. More and better food, we did that too. A separate place to smoke and play, we even did that. Batavia Downs Gaming and Hotel is the right size with the right people in the right location. Batavia Downs Gaming. Come here to dine, stay, and play.
While we celebrate 140 years of serving our community, the kind of delicious joy that lasts a lifetime, we look forward to serving you for 140 more. With hardworking, wholehearted, passionate people who will help shape new memories for generations to come.
Welcome back to RSN Trackside. Folks, tune in on Saturday to the Bob Johnson Brockport football game of the week on Rock Sports Network. The Golden Eagles have a good matchup around the corner as Brockport will take on Wilkes. Start time 1 o'clock right here on your home for Brockport College Sports, and that is Rock Sports Network. So we're actually going to move the Lattimore Power Rankings to segment number 3. Actually finalizing them real quick. So while we're doing that, let me give you my good, bad, and ugly of the weekend. So many goods to come out of this race, but I think my favorite good out of the weekend, Connor Zilic winning his Xfinity Series debut. If you don't watch ARCA, you don't know how good this kid is. And I think the whole NASCAR garage now knows Connor. I mean, they obviously know Connor Zilic, but like probably the whole community, maybe the whole NASCAR world, they probably now know who Connor Zilic is. So that's my good. My bad, bunch of playoff drivers all having issues. Let me see here. Let's go back to those results once again that I brought up earlier. Ryan Blaney, William Byron, Tyler Reddick, Brad Keselowski, Harrison Burton, Denny Hamlin, Ty Gibbs, Martin Truex Jr., all outside the top half of the field. So, yeah, a bunch of drivers with playoff issues. Did not look too good for them, that's for sure. Then the ugly, man. That's a very tough question to figure out who the ugly would be. If I were to guess for an ugly, I'd probably go with Denny Hamlin, just because he's not supposed to be in this. He's not supposed to be below the cut line by now. It's Denny Hamlin, for crying out loud. How he's below the cut line, I still have no idea right now with what's been going on. But that Atlanta strategy is backfired once more on him. It's crossed over to Watkins Glen. Now who knows how it's going to be in Bristol. So, but anyway, couple of storylines here we do want to talk about as well. We'll talk about the NASCAR storylines, and then we'll get to as well the local track storylines, the ones that we've been covering for a little while now. This one, big one in the Cup Series garage. Bubba Wallace has signed a multi-year contract extension with 2311 Racing. It is multiple years. Obviously, he's been with that team from day one and will continue to play a key role in helping 2311 grow and succeed. That is per a 2311 Racing tweet that went out. No press release that was out on it. They just saying pretty much that he is back for 2025 and beyond. So here's the thing, though, for Bubba Wallace, though. He didn't make the playoffs this year. Tyler Reddick won the regular season championship. This contract extension means Bubba has to step up big time. Needs to pick up some wins. If not, could be risking losing a very good Cup Series ride, that's for sure. So, but that was a pretty big story there on the Cup Series side. Also had some silly season news come out in the Xfinity Series, and that is Nick Sanchez. Nick Sanchez is getting the call up to the Xfinity Series for next season. Will be with Big Machine Racing in the number 48. Of course, Parker Kligerman announced that he is leaving, stepping down from the Xfinity Series of NASCAR at the end of the season. He will drive the Big Machine Vodka Spiked Coolers ride, and also announced that Gainbridge will be an associate sponsor on the number 48. Obviously, Sanchez has been very successful this season in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, picking up a few wins on the season, and looking forward to seeing how he does next season in a very good race team, to say the least, as well. Now it just makes me wonder, what is going to happen to the Rev Racing number 2. Are they just going to go back down and focus on developing drivers in ARCA? Will they have a Truck Series team? We'll just have to see what happens next year. I would love to see that team still. I would love to see them still have a Truck Series driver and see who gets called up from ARCA, potentially. I have a couple of ideas in mind for a couple of good names that could fit that role. So who knows, though? We'll just have to see. So, but that's the big news in the Xfinity Series side of things. There was also a Truck Series story that came out. I don't think it was really talked about a lot, but it had to do with a dirt racing driver by the name of Corey Day. Was announced yesterday. He inked a 4-race Truck Series deal with McAnally Hilgeman Racing, a HendrickCars.com Chevy Silverado in the number 81, begins at Bristol, will also run at Kansas, Homestead, Miami, and Martinsville. Chad Norris will be the crew chief on that ride. Of course, Norris also the GM of the MHR team. And again, Corey Day is a phenomenal driver, whether it be on a sprint car or on the asphalt, regardless. Couple of wins this season in high limit. Just recently had the biggest win of his career, won $100,000 in the Trophy Cup race at Silver Dollar Speedway. 7 wins on the season, 5th in the standings. A new test for him in the Truck Series to see how Corey Day can perform, but this kid is truly the real deal, that's for sure. So, local news stories. A couple of things. First off, Land of Legends Raceway had their big 10,000 to win Gerald Harris Memorial, and that was won by Matt Williamson. Was an incredible win. Nobody could touch him as he dominated this race. Started 7th, made his way up through the field, got to the front at the end, won over $10,000 because don't forget the lap money as well. In honor of Gerald Harris. Talk more about that in just a moment. But it was interesting because this was a weekend in which Williamson could either go for $10,000 to win at Land of Legends or run with the Barons team, an STSS team, and run the Fonda 200, which was $53K to win. I believe that was a show-up points-only race, too. I don't follow a lot of the STSS Tour like I do the Super Dirt Car Series. I believe that was the case, just qualified on Friday to get the attendance to run the Fonda 200 on Saturday, and pretty much a smart decision at the end. More of a profit that Matt Williamson made. Actually had a really good talk with him earlier today as he was made available on a Dirt Car media call. However, a story in a couple weeks on Race Pro Weekly because it related to Super Dirt Week as well. But he's excited for what's to come down the road. Of course, he's not too far behind, just over 30 points behind Matt Shepard coming up here, and we're 4 races away from the World Finals, which is crazy to think. Malta this weekend for Malta Massive Weekend. Pair of races at Atomic for the first time, and then we got Super Dirt Week at Oswego. So cannot wait to see how the rest of the season plays out for Matt Williamson as well as Matt Shepard. Speaking of Matt Shepard, I want to go there next because Matt Shepard took the Fonda 200 checkered flag. I do want to say before I go to that as well, big congratulations to the Harris family and Nick Wary for another successful event. Did not disappoint from what I was watching on Land of Legends TV while I was at Woodhull calling the CRSA. Anyway, Fonda 200, Matt Shepard, $53,000. Incredible performance, a dominant performance. Took the lead with just about 50 laps to go. Drove the top, drove around them all, got to the front. Was pretty simple there for Matt Shepard. I call him King Shepard as normally whenever he's at a racetrack, he's got a pretty good chance to win. That's for sure. Was pulling away a bunch for the field until there were a couple of yellow flags throughout the race. But Shepard passing Mark Johnson to get the job done and banking $53,000. Congratulations to the driver of the number 9S. So we're going to step aside here once again, take another quick break. When we come back, we will have those power rankings for you. And then we're going to preview Bristol, baby, this weekend. Don't miss out. RSN Trackside around the corner. Stay with us.
While we celebrate 140 years of serving our community, the kind of delicious joy that lasts a lifetime, we look forward to serving you for 140 more. With hardworking, wholehearted, passionate people who will help shape new memories for generations to come.
Hi, my name is Henry, and I want to welcome you to Batavia Downs Gaming. We want you to love it, not just like it here. We went to our customers and asked them what we can do better. You said you wanted a hotel, so we built one. More and better food. We did that too. A separate place to smoke and play? We even did that. Batavia Downs Gaming and Hotel is the right size with the right people in the right location. Batavia Downs Gaming. Come here to dine, stay, and play.
Super Dirt Week, racing's biggest party, is all new this year. It's racing, music, camping, and a huge Saturday night finale. See your dirt car racing heroes battle wheel to wheel all week for a chance at glory. Get your tickets at superdirtweek.com or call 844-DIRT-TICKS. The 52nd running of Super Dirt Week, October 7th through the 12th. Be there.
We start with fresh, never frozen ground beef, follow it with our homemade meat hot sauce, and finish it with your choice of toppings, always made to order. Our world's greatest cheeseburgers will make you say,
Gimme, 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 Bill Gray.
If you're living with pain or recovering from surgery and don't know where to start, Lattimore Physical Therapy can help. The Lattimore Promise includes an individual diagnosis with a highly trained licensed physical therapist on your first visit, a personalized treatment plan, communication with your doctor, and a continued personal care plan. You're never more than minutes away from pain relief. Visit LattimorePT.com.
Lattimore Physical Therapy.
The drive, dedication, the courage it takes to go from contender to champion. This has driven Bob Johnson from the very start. It's how we build our team. It's how we win our customers. Bob Johnson welcomes every challenge to enter the winner's circle.
Bob Johnson's got your ride. Bob Johnson.
Welcome back to RSN Trackside. RSN Trackside brought to you by our friends at Bill Gray's, some of the world's greatest cheeseburgers since 1938. Every Wednesday, $2 off kids' meals featuring burgers, Weigel's, Hots, and more. Also at select locations, you can watch the race and grab some food and a drink at the Bill Gray's Tap Room. Find a location near you at BillGrays.com. Gimme, gimme, gimme Bill Gray's. Time for the Lattimore Physical Therapy Power Rankings. Lattimore Physical Therapy of North Chili, an outpatient physical therapy clinic treating a variety of health conditions and restoring optimal health, providing personal individualized care. Give them a call at 585-594-1688 or visit their location at 3237 Union Street next to the post office. Not there, visit any of their other 28 locations in the area. All right. Big shakeup on my power rankings this week, and I am not kidding when I mean a big shakeup on the power rankings this week. Returning to my power rankings, it's been forever since we've last had him in there. Chase Briscoe is at number 10. Went from below the cut line to up 6 as he finished the highest of all playoff drivers with a 6th place finish. Ross Chastain, number 9, had the best car, led the most laps, and finished 4th in the race. Austin Cindric, number 8, perhaps the best driver in the playoffs right now. Back-to-back top 10 finishes, tied with Alex Bowman for the most points this season. He's just looked phenomenal, unexpected in the round of 16 right now. Chris Buescher, number 7, took the win with the last lap pass on Shane Van Gisbergen. 4 top 5s the last 5 races for the driver of the 17. Ryan Blaney, number 6, did not finish the race. Didn't see anything from him. Yes, he did not have a good performance, but we saw nothing at that race, which gives me a reason not to put him down a couple of spots. So tough to give really an idea on how he performed in the race and where he ranks right now. Joey Logano, number 5, the only driver safe entering Bristol, a 15th place finish for him. Kyle Larson at number 4, placed 12th, but only able to gain 1 spot from last week. He had the 3rd best finish among 16 drivers in the playoffs, and he has 4 finishes of 12th or better in the last 7 events. Chase Elliott, number 3, multi-time Watkins Glen winner, but he was not a factor one bit. Finished 19th. Christopher Bell, number 2, finished 14th, ending a streak of 5 top 6s in the last 7 events. He is, though, up 46 on the cut line, so probably the most comfortable driver of all the non-winners in the round of 16 right now. And then number 1 in my power rankings, although he was in a spin or 2 last weekend, Tyler Reddick, 27th place finish, but still has 8 finishes of 6th or better, and he is 30 points above the cut line. As long as he makes it in the next round, he'll retain, he'll get his playoff points accumulated over to the round of 12. So that's how my top 10 looks. Let me know what you think about it as a whole. I wish I had Kelvin here with me so he could debate this, but oh well. So, all right, let's get set to go here and preview the final race in the round of 16. Bristol Motor Speedway, which you don't want to miss out on, that's for sure. I always get chills talking about the Bristol race when it's a playoff eliminator. I've been there twice since it became a thing. The first time in 2020, and then the second time in 2022, which was really an incredible race that time. Haven't been to Bristol since, but dang, I need some free time to get back to Bristol. I definitely miss it, that's for sure. So, I think the big thing that I'm keeping my eye on once again, that we kept our eye on last week and was not talked about back in the spring, the tires. Back in the spring, we had like the greatest short track race ever when it came to tire management. And so tire management will be key in this race. Here's what Goodyear's storyline says per the Fast Facts released earlier this week. The spring race was a revelation. While running the same tire setup as the previous fall's race, yes, it is the spring tire setup, the track did not take rubber, and tires continued to wear heavily throughout the 500-lap race in March. Goodyear followed that up with a tire test at Bristol on July 16th and the 17th to understand what led to it. There were 6 teams in that test: Chase Briscoe, Chris Buescher, Austin Dillon, Justin Haley, Corey LaJoie, and John Hunter Nemechek. Even with midsummer temps higher than what they were in the race than March, Goodyear was hoping that there was a possibility the track would take more rubber easily at the test than it did back in the spring. But guess what? That did not happen. The remaining variable in that came down to the same tire setup, and a track that took rubber was the track preparation. Because remember, Bristol uses traction compound here, this racetrack, to get multiple grooves going hot here. September of last year, that track was prepared with PJ1. Back in the spring, that was prepared with resin. And so that was the factor in what we saw back in March. So going back to the same setup, hopefully the same track conditions, although it's supposed to be down in maybe the 70s come race time at Bristol. But tire management will be very important in this race. I'm excited to see what happens here. Denny Hamlin, of course, I'm keeping my eye on. As he won this race back in the spring, 6 points below the cut line. He'll have to be someone to watch out for. I'm going to keep my eye on as well on Brad Keselowski. He nearly won this race in 2022. Then I believe it was either a tire or an engine issue that prevented him from having a chance to make it into the next round. Keselowski now 12 points below, hoping for a great day to make it into the next round. Other drivers, the Hendrick camp you got to watch out for. Ty Gibbs as well. He had a great race. Like half of the field in this round of 16 have a great reason in why they can win this weekend. They really do. And I think we're going to see a lot of playoff drivers running up near the front. Lap traffic as an issue in the race. Who knows what is going to happen? when we look at the results back in the spring, Denny Hamlin led the most laps at 163. Ty Gibbs led the second most at 137. And that was followed up by 54 laps led by Martin Truex Jr. So this is a Toyota track right now at the moment. And everything that we've been looking at here this past year and a half or so with the next-gen car. This is a Toyota track. I'm going to keep my eyes out on that. And we'll see, what goes down this weekend, huh? So let's get right into the odds here for the weekend. All the odds courtesy of DraftKings Sportsbook, must be 21 and older to play. And as always, please play responsibly. A lot of good things to look forward to here in this weekend. And let's get to the head-to-heads here. 3 matchups on the weekend. No pick'ems. No money being collected here because Kelvin's not here. So to make things fair, we won't do it. But here are the matchups I'm looking at pretty closely. First off, William Byron, Tyler Reddick, -125 to Reddick at -110. This is a Toyota track. I'm liking Tyler Reddick here. I think he's good value here at -110. Plus, he has performed a lot better this season than William Byron. So give me the driver of the number 45 at the -120, -110. Yes, I do know that William Byron is better in terms of average finish than Tyler Reddick has recently. But I'm still liking Reddick here at this track. I think he'll still shine here this weekend, especially with the streak of races he's had lately. Next one, Hamlin -120 versus Larson at -115. This one very tough here because these are the top 2 drivers in average finishes. But I'm liking Larson here at -115. It's very concerning to be Denny right now and put money on him based on how he's performed these last 2 races. So I have to go with Kyle Larson because of that at -115. So I would put money down on Larson in that. Final matchup I'm looking at, Chase Elliott -110 versus Ryan Blaney at -125. I think when we look at this, I just lost my internet browser. What in the world? Elliott and Blaney 110, 125. Elliott, he's got 1 top 5 and 3 top 10s, average finish 10.5. I'd probably look at Chase Elliott on that side of things over Ryan Blaney because of that, of how he's performed. So I'm going with the underdogs here, pretty much here. Reddick, Larson, and Elliott. Good money makers this weekend on the head-to-head. If you want to pick right now, obviously probably better to wait until after qualifying, get an idea where those drivers start, and then pick the head-to-head. So let's get to the odds of who will win, though, on Saturday. All the drivers in the Bass Pro Shops night race, which is Saturday night at 7:30 p.m. Toyota is the favorite to win at +110. And Denny Hamlin is the 4-1 favorite to win this race. That's followed up by Kyle Larson at 5-1, Christopher Bell at 5.5-1, Ty Gibbs 8.5-1, Brad Keselowski 11-1, Chris Buescher 12-1, William Byron, Ryan Blaney, Joey Logano 15-1, and Martin Truex Jr. at 16-1. 3 drivers expected to finish inside the top 5: Denny Hamlin, Kyle Larson, and Christopher Bell. -175, -125, and -115. If I'm looking at a top 5 spot, Ty Gibbs, some pretty good value. He's pretty good at short tracks. So I would probably say stick with Gibbs for a top 5 at +110. As for who could win, I'd probably go with Larson at 5-1 this weekend. So anyway, that's pretty much all of our odds here for the weekend. Let's move on to the picks to win each race this weekend. All three NASCAR series in action: Truck, Xfinity, and Cup. We'll begin with the Truck Series Uno 200, 8 o'clock on FS1 on Saturday night. Keep in mind, no more Cup drivers on Xfinity or Truck Series races because of the fact that we are in playoff mode now for pretty much all 3 series. Xfinity Series has their season finale on Friday night, the regular season finale, and because of that as well at the same time, no Cup drivers allowed for that. I think I'm going to go with my pick to win. Corey Heim wins this weekend in the number 11 once again. So give me Corey Heim for the win. Friday night, the Xfinity Series race. It is the Food City 300, 7:30 p.m. A reminder, not on NBC, not on USA. This weekend, the first race that the NASCAR Xfinity Series moves over to the CW. Friday night at 7:30 p.m. Still going to be produced by NBC, all that stuff. I remember CW's been putting a lot of work into NASCAR, and I think they've been doing a pretty good job with it on social media, with marketing. They've been on Ty Gibbs' car these past few weeks, and no live streams as well. There's no like CW app you can watch for. I guess there is, but nothing live that you can watch for free. Remember, if you have an antenna, you likely have the CW, so that's something. So that should not be an issue when it comes to Xfinity Series racing. I have YouTube TV. We have the CW. So if you have that, you likely have the CW depending on the network it is. So my pick to win this weekend, I'm going to go with Justin Allgaier. I'd say either him or Cole Custer takes the win. Remember as well, this is a race that Dale Jr. is in this weekend. So that's always a good reason to watch the race at Bristol because Dale Jr. is normally in it. And I think that was a wild one from last year for June for Little E. So I hope this isn't a wild one. I would love to see Junior in victory lane. I think he will be though, but as the car owner of Justin Allgaier. So finally, the Cup race at Bristol, the Bass Pro Shops night race. Final race in the round of 16, 7:30 p.m. on USA. My pick to win. I picked him last week. He did okay, but this time I think he's going to end it out on top. This is a track with some good banking to it, and sometimes it can work pretty well. Give me Young Money. Kyle Larson to take the win. On the 4 drivers I think that will be out of the round of 16, I'm going to go Harrison Burton. I'm going to go Martin Truex Jr. I hate to do this, but I'm going to go Chase Briscoe out after this round, unfortunately. Final car out, I'm going to go Denny Hamlin. I think Ty Gibbs barely beats Denny Hamlin into the next round. So I cannot wait to see how this weekend unfolds. It's one where you want to keep your eyes glued to the TV for all 500 laps in a 3.5, 4 hour race. Like I don't want to miss anything. That's for sure. Saturday night. Luckily, I got no race to call. I got a football game in the afternoon. Then it's on to the NASCAR race on Saturday night. But hey, it's Bristol, baby, for a reason. It's just something special about the Bristol night race. I call it one of my crown jewels that's not a crown jewel. Obviously, the 4 biggest are Daytona, Charlotte, Darlington, and Indy. But up there in 5th is the Bristol night race, that's for sure. So that will do it, meanwhile, for this edition of RSN Trackside. Again, we're so glad that you could join us for that once again. Next week, we'll recap how the round of 16 went down at Bristol, the cutoff race, and then we'll preview next week's edition of the round of 12 at Kansas Speedway. So don't miss out on that. Shout to Gary, as always, working behind the camera and computer. I'm Marty. This has been RSN Trackside. So long, everyone.